Hello beauties, and welcome back to the Bumpy Bones Locksport channel. Now in this video, we're going to be picking open and gutting this Kenard pin-in-pin dimple lock. And this is actually a really fun dimple lock. It's a green belt in the Lockpickers United belt system. And it's a 4-pin lock, but it's a pin-in-pin dimple lock. And so what does that mean? Well, here's a photo of the pins that you would find in a lock like this. And so a pin-in-pin lock has these outer pins on the key pins, but they also have these inner pins. So technically, each pin is 2 pins. And so the way that you would go about picking this is we would first pick the outer pins, and these are our security pins, and so that would work, or that would set the outer edge of our security pins. But on our security pins, we have these little knobs here that interact with the inner pins. And so once we get all the outer edges of our security pins set, you'll feel the core turn a bit like you would in a spool pin, and that's hitting the inner pin here. And so then we would set our inner pins, and then the lock would open. So these are really fun locks, and I've been wanting to get into dimple locks for a while now because I'm getting to a point in my lockpicking journey where I'm starting to tackle purple belt and higher locks. And often these locks have multiple different types of pins in them, and not just the pin cylinders, like or the pin locks or the pin keys that you would see in a pin cylinder. But you can get sliders, you can get finger pins, and the finger pins are kind of similar to a dimple lock in some ways because with a dimple lock, your keyway is kind of going off to the side, so you don't have a lot of room to maneuver your pick in. And if I show you this ASA here that I've got, or ASA here that I've got, it's a ASA twin. And this actually has 2 rows of pins. We got the standard key pins that are up at the top here, but we also have a series of side pins or finger pins. And those are right here along the side, so I don't have a lot of room. So I'm trying to figure out ways that I can go about tackling this type of lock, and I got thinking, hey, maybe dimple picks might be a really good way of getting to those side pins as well. But anyways, whether or not I wind up using dimple picks or another technique to get to those side pins, I wanted to start working with other style locks in order to kind of start building up some of the skill sets I might need for a lock like this. So let's go ahead and throw this into our vise here. And you know, I always like showing the lock working just to show that there's no shenanigans going on here. So what are we going to use to get this guy open? Well, we're going to use dimple picks, and these I got from the Multipick starter kit. And this is the number 1 and number 4 flags for their dimple set. And then I'm also going to be using the turning tool that came with it, and this is the BMS09 1.5 millimeter turning tool, and I'm going to be using the wider edge here. So let's go ahead and let me change our focus so that it's up at the vise here a little bit, and let's throw this in here. Come on. Oh, you know what? Normally with dimple locks, I don't have it with the pins on facing up. I flip it around because it makes it easier for me. Because rather than leveraging, like using the edge of the lock as a fulcrum and pushing the locks up, what we're doing is we're taking our flags and we're rotating our pick. And so it's a bit of a different technique. And actually having the pins facing down, I find to be a lot easier. The other reason I do this is I can insert the turning tool on the right hand side here like I would in a regular lock, so I can use my left hand for tension and my right hand for my tool and be comfortable doing this. So that's why I usually orient this dimple locks with the pins facing down. Alright, so let's go ahead and change over to our other mic here, and let's get started. Now, I'm going to start with the wider dimple pick, and that's going to set the outer pins. So we're going to start with pin 1, just like we would in a regular lock. Alright, got a nice click on pin 1. Let's hit pin 2. Click on pin 2, pin 3. Nothing really on pin 3. Alright, let's hit pin 4. Alright, hit pin 3 again. Pin 2. Alright, pin 1. 2. 3. 4. I wonder if I didn't overset something. Alright, let's reset. Alright, 1, 2, 3, 4. And the Dimple Lock set. There we go. Alright, come on. Alright, so there we go. Now I got some rotation. So now I'm going to switch over to our other pick, and we're going to do the inner pins now. So there's 1, 2, 3, and there's 4. Let's hit 3 again. 2. There we go. Trying to find the inner pins can be a lot of fun with the picks here. Alright, so let's go ahead and gut this and take a look at the pins and see what we got in here. And so let me go ahead and grab our pinning tray here, and let me change our focus back to our desk. Alright, so I want to make sure I grab the right key here. 1, 2, 3, 4. And let's go ahead and grab our screwdriver. This we need a Phillips head for. And let's get our retaining cap off. And okay, so now we're going to remove the core. Now, one thing that you're going to notice with a Dimple Lock, especially with something like this, you can over insert the key once you remove that retaining cap. That retaining cap also kind of keeps the key from going in too far. So it takes a little bit of getting used to with it. When I go to rotate the core, because I always rotate the core rather than just pulling it straight out, I always rotate it just a little bit so that it's not over one of these slots here. So I always go counterclockwise with this type of design. And the other reason why I always rotate the core, even though I have all the pins in here and I can just pull it straight out, if I'm progressive pinning, that would be a problem. And so just out of habit, I always encourage good practices and trying to get into good habits. I always rotate just so that I don't forget to do that if I'm doing progressive pinning. Alright, so let's go ahead and grab our follower here, and actually the other thing I highly recommend people do here too is shim. Because those security pins, this is a pin and pin dimple lock, those security pins have those inner pins that will drop. It just makes it a lot more comfortable and easier to shim, just in case something happens and all of that. Alright, so here are our key pins. And so let's go ahead and get these guys out, and let's do. Yep, so you can see with the key pins here, you have that inner component there that you're interacting with as well. So let's go ahead and drop that. So there's one. Here's two. Oops. Three. And four. Okay, I think it was that one. Uh-oh. All right. And let's go ahead and grab our security pins. There's one, two, three, and four. All right, so let's go ahead and change our focus so that we're all up nice and close here. So here are the pins in our lock. So we can see that we've got the outer pins here, we've got our inner pins, and then we got our security pins. And with the security pins, you know, as I was mentioning in the picture there, we have this little spring element, and that's in the inner part here, and that's what your inner pin is interacting with. So when we're picking it, what we're doing is we're picking the outer edge first, and then we're getting to that inner edge, then we're picking the inner edge. So even though this is a 4-pin lock, technically you can say it's 8 pins because each pin has 2 pins to it. So alright, let's go ahead and get this guy back together. And so we're going to go ahead and just pin this just like we would a standard lock. So let's go ahead and get our security pins back in place. And there's one, two, three, and four. Alright, and let's get our key pins back in place. We're going to do the outer and then the inner. And then we got the outer and inner. We got the outer and inner. And then we got the outer and inner. Alright, and let's go ahead and just insert our key just to make sure everything's looking good. Alright, so I did mix that up, and this is one reason why I always recommend checking out the keys, because when I did the pinning, you notice that I accidentally dropped in the inner pin of 3, and it got mixed in with the inner pin of 4, and I thought I had it proper, but it turned out I didn't. Alright, that's looking a lot better. Alright, so, and let's go ahead and just test that real quick. Alright, yep. I think that will work. Alright, so we got all of that in. Let's go ahead and shim this. And let's insert our core. Alright, let's go ahead and lock it. Make sure that we got this working. Yep, perfect. Alright, and then let's go ahead and put on our retaining cap, and then we will be done. Oops. So there's one screw, and then the second screw. And there we go, it's all back together now. Alright, so this was a fun lock to learn, and I'm going to be completely honest when it comes to the pin and pin. When I got this lock, I got it part of a set that I got from Lockpicker's bench, and I got the set because it had the green belt, it has a blue belt, and then it also had the purple belt in it. And again, I really wanted to get into dimple locks, but when I got them, I noticed that they were the pin and pin, and my initial reaction was like, oh crap, pin and pin. I don't want to start off with something that's a different mechanism than a regular pin because I was just a little bit afraid of it. And when I started picking it, it just clicked to me that, hey, wait a minute here, in this pin and pin is just like a regular pin with the exception you have two rolls and you're picking one roll in the second roll. So, I would definitely recommend this for if you wanted to start learning dimple pins. The other thing is they are really big pins, and so learning the depths of them and where the pins are a bit fun. I'm still learning it, and that's why I struggled a little bit in this video trying to find the pins when I was picking it. But, as you work with it more, you'll get more comfortable with them. So, I'm still working on the blue belt, which is the 5-pin version of this, and hopefully I'll have a video of that soon. And then I'm going to work on the purple belt. And hopefully have a video of that soon so I can get my purple belt. So I hope everybody enjoyed this video. As always, feel free to like and comment on my videos and subscribe to my channel. And I hope everyone has a beautiful day, and I will see you all later.